What is up, everybody? It's the Don with the Don Tech, and today I wanted to give you a different sort of video. It's going to be a product comparison and product review of the two products in front of me. So what I've got to the left over here is going to be the Cyber Acoustics, the 3602a, and right here I've got the Logitech Z623, and these are both speakers, obviously, with subwoofers attached to them. I wanted to take some time to go over the differences in the products, what they offer, and how they're different, and which one would be worth it for the money. Primarily, the difference in these is going to be the sound quality, as you can probably tell, the size, how they work, and also their price. Now, the Cyber Acoustics ones right here, I got those for 40 bucks on Amazon, and then the Logitech one there is going to actually be about 120 bucks on Amazon. So, you know, a good $80-ish price difference, but is it really worth it? And I'll be doing a sound test at the end of the video so you can find out. So starting with the actual Cyber Acoustic one, what you can see here is a little bit different of a setup, and it has a little media control thing down here. Now, starting with this, it was nice when I was using it originally because I could just Velcro it somewhere, but I never used it to modify anything. It's got the bass, the auxiliary headphone, and this little thing turns to do the min and max volume, as you can see. Then it also has the on-off switch, upside down, the on-off switch right there. So it's kind of neat, but I never ended up using it because the volume was always set in a good spot, and it just kind of added 2 additional wires. And one of the wires goes to the red section here to the control pod, and then the speakers also go from the actual speakers. And then there's another wire that actually connects to the computer itself for the audio jack. So it was nice to have that, and like I said, I had it Velcroed onto my old desk, so it's kind of a neat little setup. But I have a new desk and I have new things now, so I wanted to get a new, better setup that didn't have as many wires, and I'll get to that in a second. So what I was using with the Cyber Acoustics, you can see there's a hole right there, and then there's a hole right there. So drilled in pretty much for me to mount these on the hutch of my old desk. And the reason I did that is so I got them out of the way. They were kind of up in the corner of the desk, and I didn't want them on the actual desk itself because I had limited desk space. So they were slim and sleek, and they did that purpose for what I needed. But like I said, you know, it's just too many wires is kind of what I had. So here's all the wires, essentially, just for the control panel, the power, the speakers, and you have the 2 cables for the actual speakers themselves that link down to one cable that plugs into right there. So you can see as well the difference, putting these a little bit closer together in size. The Logitech series is much larger. These aren't in the same class of speaker sets whatsoever. Logitech has some other speakers like the 3 series or something like that that is to compete with these, but this is more of a, if you had the money, is it worth it to get the lower end speakers, or should you go to the higher end speakers? So moving on to the Logitech side here. I already have a set of this at my house, and I absolutely love this speaker set. So I knew that I was going to like it here. I knew it was going to work. It's definitely overkill because you've got a 200-watt subwoofer and 2 35-watt satellite speakers themselves. At least I think it's 35-watt. Should be 35-watt, something like that. Anyway, the specifications, I can link the actual product down below. But they sound really good, and you'll have the sound test at the end of this video, as I mentioned, comparing both speakers, even though the sound is going to be different based on the speakers that you're listening to it from, but you might be able to get a sense of the quality, at least, of the sound that's coming out of them. So some of the key factors in this that I really liked about this Logitech set from having it at home is you have the control modules, essentially, the bass, the volume, power, and then the auxiliary and headphone right out here. You have it all integrated into the actual speaker, and this is going to be the right speaker, this is the left speaker. I found that out the hard way. I'm embarrassed. Anyway, so I really like that that's all integrated, and you know, it's just easy to have right there at your fingertips, and you don't have to have the additional thing, and you don't have to have the additional wires that are going everywhere, because that just gets messy if you're trying to keep something nice and sleek. And when it comes to the actual wiring, this has a really thick rubber padding at the bottom. It's also a heavier speaker. So when it comes to this is what connects to the actual subwoofer base itself, and this is from the primary speaker here. So it's a thicker wire, but it's just one wire, so it's not that bad. And this one here is going to just be a thinner wire that connects to the black cable, or the black connection right there, whatever it would be called, yada yada. So you only have those two for the speakers, nothing for a media console, and then you have this cable here that goes from the green port here to the actual computer, your typical audio jack port. So that's pretty much all that I had with this. I just wanted to do a little bit of a product comparison on these actual, the two speakers themselves, do a brief little overview of them, show what they have, show the differences between them, and now I'm gonna go ahead and hook them up and we'll get to the sound test. The best I can do myself sort of comparison between speakers, it's a challenge because you're listening to it from my recording device, which at that time was my phone, and through the rendering process and everything like that. So to me, when I was listening to it again, the Cyber Acoustics were a little bit more airy, I would describe, a little bit more light, whereas the Logitech one was a little bit more deep and muddy sounding, and it was actually something I had to get used to again because the Cyber Acoustics, like I said, are very lightweight in that sense, the way that the sound comes through. They don't have as much bass, and that's something that's easier to tell when you're with it, and that's gonna happen when you have a much larger subwoofer. So overall, like I said, I would heavily recommend that if you can't afford it, especially if it's on sale like I think it is right now, buy the Logitech ones. They're going to be much better off overall as long as you have the space, you have less wires, all that sort of stuff. But the Cyber Acoustics, if you're going for a very inexpensive set, those are amazing speakers. I've had them for several years, and now they're just sitting in my garage, and I'll use them again sometime in the future if the need should arise. So if you like this video, give it a like. If you enjoyed the song choice at the end as well, give it a like. If you didn't like it or you don't like having jokes played on you, give this video a dislike. And if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, the Don's got your back. Wait, hold on, wait, before you go. Make sure that you send me and tweet me your questions at the Don Tech, and then I can go ahead and continue on with my video series of the Don Tech Minute, where I go through and answer your most pressing questions when it comes to technology.